Welcome to episode number 10 of the Two Amazing People podcast. This week I'm talking to Richard Morris. Now, Richard was nominated by Denise Green from episode 8. And for those of you who don't know, well, you will know because you're going to watch this, Richard's got an amazing story behind him. He co-founded a business that went to a $2 billion float. Since exiting that business, he is now working with EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating Systems, and has also set up a foundation called The Giving Machine. It's a brilliant watch. He's a cracking guy, and I really hope you enjoy the episode.
You want to say something really inspirational?
Okay, I think be the driver, not the passenger. I ought to say that is that I've had my one biscuit.
Yeah.
And that's a commitment on film, but also to myself.
You're green.
Is it green?
Yeah, we're green. Go on then.
So you got my one biscuit commitment on film. Brilliant.
I'll put this over here.
I'll continue to hold my coffee as a
That's
prop
right.
if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it. I think that'll do. Okay. So, have you watched any of these yet?
I watched the Denise one.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Interesting?
it was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And in fact, I shared it with several people, obviously, just because I wanted them to see who Denise was, because obviously I've been driving off to High Wycombe for the last year and a bit. Also, who is this person? But also for the people that I nominated to say, look, this is what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, now they get to see yours as well. Should we start?
Yeah.
Richard?
Hello.
After, for the people on the camera, we've been talking for 30 minutes before press and record. So,
Yeah. And just saying, I've had my one biscuit.
yeah.
You haven't had any yet,
Yeah,
but you
not
have
yet.
to eat them all.
I'll have one while you're talking.
Fair enough.
So, you have been nominated by Denise,
Yeah, very grateful.
who I looked up. Denise was episode 8, and you're going to go out as episode 10,
Right.
the 10th one. Actually, the last ones go out before summer holiday break,
Right.
because as I've found out, for the next people that have been nominated, they go away on holiday. So it makes it quite hard to book
I
people
know.
in.
It's rude, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's unfair. So we're going to have a short break. So you're the last one, the last of the 10. You've been nominated by Denise, as I say, as an amazing person, because you're not just nominated to come on here, you're nominated as one of her 2 amazing people. How did it feel when she picked up the phone and told you about that?
I suppose sort of really chuffed.
Yeah.
And then sort of, I don't know, just really, surprised is the wrong word, but yeah, I suppose really humbled and chuffed, because Denise gets to get the name right. Denise.
Yeah,
Denise,
that person that nominated you, the
what's her
amazing
name?
one.
Yeah, never heard of her.
Yeah, met her once.
No, but she interacts with loads of people.
Yeah.
So, and I'm assuming that she doesn't have to go and check that actually I asked another 8, and there was, and then actually
You're 9th
yeah,
on the
that's
list.
right, yeah.
This is it.
But no, so in some ways, yeah, but very, very humbling and just chuffed, really.
Yeah. I think the reaction I get most when I ask that is people generally don't see themselves as an amazing person, for one. But then, as you said there, they don't often see themselves as that person's amazing person.
Yeah.
So it can sometimes be a bit of a surprise where they go, actually, so you actually you think of me in that way, that I am, if you were to put 2 people down, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
It's actually, I find it a really nice moment between the 2 of you that you have.
Oh no, it's just brilliant. In fact, I'm seeing her in a couple of days, so I'm looking forward to seeing her. But also, we don't often tell each other,
No.
as human beings, that you're amazing. We might tell each other when you're not being amazing.
Yeah.
We don't often say some of that, and so it's nice that you're doing this for that. But it just reminds, actually, isn't it nice to tell people who are amazing in your life that they are?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very chuffed, but it's also a reminder I've got to tell more people that they're amazing.
You get to tell 2 more at least, hopefully by the end of this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I've got my little book.
Yes.
I come up with around 10 questions. That was the first, by the way, but I know there's extras in here. I mentioned before that I go off of LinkedIn, and I said that yours was interesting.
Yeah.
Because when I clicked on the experience, when it lists down everything that you've done.
Yeah.
I go down there, and then for the last 20 odd years,
Yeah.
it's very detailed.
Yeah.
And then before then,
It's pretty sparse.
it's pretty sparse.
Yeah.
But then the interesting bit is it's pretty sparse, but when you've got your name, the first bit that comes across is, and I don't know if I've got the exact words down here, about co-founding startup that went to a 2 billion float. But that's the first thing that appears next to your name.
Yes.
So it's a really interesting, that's what caught my eye, and some of these questions kind of link around that. But I'm going to start back to the beginning bit. So my second question
Okay.
is, you co-founded a tech startup that
Yeah.
went to a $2 billion float.
Yeah.
Which is off the chart, incredible.
Yeah.
When you think back to that part of your life, what really stays with you today? What do you carry with yourself today?
Well, I'd like to also answer the first bit, as in, why is it the first thing on my LinkedIn profile? Because I think for many years, I was almost guilty. I felt guilt for that success. And it feels brash to say that. So, but a lot of my friends who I trust have said, look, you've got to be open and honest about what you achieved, because actually it will open some doors to a conversation. After that, it's up to you building the relationship. But I didn't really put it anywhere. And a lot of people, why are you not putting it somewhere? And because I thought, well, as I said, it's a bit like, look at me and stuff. And what it doesn't say is all of the basic mess ups and train wrecks that you've had in the years. So it's like saying your number one hit record, but let's forget about all the others
other 99
that were crap. So to answer your question, that was one of the reasons. And then so what do I think what I really enjoyed about that experience was I came into that opportunity very young and inexperienced, but I really had aspirations, but the aspirations were actually, and they sound a bit trite, to be a great leader.
I don't think that's anything wrong with that.
And I'd really devoured the books by Stephen Covey, or Covey, however you want to pronounce it, and on leadership styles and leading with purpose, and then so then I got a chance to put some of that into practice. So, and because I have an engineering background, I knew I was going to head up engineering and stuff. The Wasp's enjoying the biscuits in it, So, and he's desperate to get in onto this interview. I hope he's got something to add.
You're not one of the amazing people.
Or it could be a she, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't sex a wasp, unfortunately. Anyway, it's going to be quite a nice distraction.
Go on your way.
Yeah. And the thing is, as you say, we can't pause it and then go deal with the wasp.
No, this is it.
It rolls. So, so for me, the opportunity to be part of building something, and so I found that I got really interested in the organisation of development piece, but obviously I was responsible for deploying the technology and some of that sort of stuff. And so I took on a mentor to help me with some of this side of things as well. So when I look back, what did I enjoy the most? Actually, it was building high-performing teams and actually also supporting them. And I think one of the other things that was interesting in the tech bit was, because I knew I wasn't going to be there forever, because I was going to come home at some point, I was, because I hadn't managed anyone, and then really up to that point, I'd managed one person in a previous role. And then by the end of it, I had a team of about, I can't remember, 80, 90 people or something. And but when I hired people, I was saying, I'm hiring you because you're better than me, because I'm not going to be here forever. So I need to make sure that I have, and it was nice looking people in the eye saying, I know that I don't know the stuff as deep as you, so let's get that issue out of the way, right? Because often, especially in tech spaces, you expect your manager to know more than you. And then there's a sort of tech respect issue. So I thought, well, let's get rid of this. The other thing that was really I enjoyed about it when I look back on it was engaging in my own terms. So when I was asked to be part of the startup, I said, yeah, I'm in it. But please know, I'm going to be leaving the office at a reasonable time. Because if I don't look after my home relationship with my wife, and I'm forced to choose between job and wife and marriage, I will be choosing my wife.
It's an easy decision to make.
So so I said, if I don't look after that, but I will go home, do that, and then I'll log on later and carry on working and do stuff. So no, you've got 100% of what I can give, and I explain that to my team, saying you will see me walking out of the office early. I'll be in early, but please don't think I won't be working later. But we weren't part of an expat community. My wife was not allowed to work because on the visa terms. So if I don't invest in that, and so I kind of learned a lot about engagement, but also about supporting people, because inevitably you have people issues. And one of the things I really enjoyed was hopefully becoming that servant leader and getting the most out of them and supporting them. And yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And that was, ultimately we describe as creating an environment that worked for you and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah,
and the people within it, and
promoting that culture of achievement and collaboration throughout the business. So often you find, so I did take quite a lead in hopefully influencing the culture for positive. You don't often get that from the head of engineering. But for me, that was one of the things I was most interested in.
Yeah. That's going to carry through to these next questions, I reckon.
Okay. Obviously, achieving the float and doing all that was brilliant too. Yeah. So I think the joke is it did great for me financially, bit crap follically.
Well,
but it was a good trade.
Well, yeah, I think good trade.
Oh, and tell you what I do remember is when we did float, and it was such a celebratory experience. My wife said, "What do you want to do?" And because it was quite a thing. And do you want to go out? Do you want to do this? I said, "Do you know what? I fancy getting some Kentucky Fried Chicken and a bottle of champagne."
Yeah, and sitting at home and having a takeaway.
That's what we did. Yeah, it was brilliant.
But that's just the nice thing you do, isn't it?
So that was it was just really good fun.
I hope you got a big bucket of KFC.
Well, I don't want to comment on that. Maybe.
There we are. So this leads on really nicely. So I put after exiting that business.
Yeah.
You spent the next few years shifting direction.
Yeah.
Which we'll go into. What was going through your mind at that time?
Well, at that time we'd moved back to the UK, started to become dad, and I immediately jumped into another startup that was trying to do the same thing in the UK, but it didn't work out for various reasons. So that folded. I then jumped into another role to help roll out the first public Wi-Fi network. But my wife asked me this question. She goes, and that was quite long hours and stuff. And she said, "Why are you doing this?" She said, "Because you said you really wanted to be dad, but you're not around. And let's face it, you don't have to be doing it." And the only answer I had was, "Well, it's what I know how to do."
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a crap answer.
Yeah.
So it kind of was a bit of a reset.
Yeah.
So things worked out so that I exited that role. They wanted me to exit because they were hiring someone else into. Anyway, so it came, and I thought, so I took a part-time job locally, and then spent a lot of time being dad, and then started doing some volunteer work. So I took a complete shift.
How nice is that though? Because your kids would have been young then.
Yeah, so my daughter was probably only about 2, 3.
Yeah.
So then, so I exited out of that stuff. It was nice, but I have to say the ego took a bit of a battering and found it hard to cope.
Why?
Because I realised my ego was quite tied up in my external areas of responsibility and influence in the work area.
All right.
Suddenly I didn't have that anymore. And so I didn't realise how quite connected I was to that. And I did find that a bit of a difficult, because it was almost like the death of one set of area of my life for a while. And I'd realised how much I enjoyed all of that sort of stuff. So I loved the new stuff, but doing leadership and doing all that sort of stuff, that's irrelevant when you're taking your kids to swimming and you're actually sitting opposite them, taking them out for lunch.
Isn't it? That's the gift of being a parent, but the gift of being a parent that is present and can be present.
Oh, do you know, you're absolutely right, but I'm embarrassed to say at time, I don't feel that now, but at the time I found my ego was still a little bit connected to some of the stuff that I enjoyed doing.
It's crazy though, isn't it? Because being dads, my kids are 10 and 7. So whenever I do the drop off and the school pickup, there's not loads of dads there.
No, and I found that, in fact, one of the things you find is the mums will often go for coffee and stuff, and it'd be a bit odd if you start tagging along. Yeah, well, when I used to take them swimming, it was funny because some of the swimming instructors who and some of them women would just walk through the men's changing because there was so very rare there were any men there. And think, but obviously, so it is quite interesting, but it is just the way it is. But yeah, it is very noticeable.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think personally, I had this thought in my head: how lucky am I?
Oh, I know,
and I get to do it.
And I did get to there. Yeah. But I think initially I found that a bit hard. Yeah. But that was just a personal issue of just trying to come to terms with a big change. But I'm so pleased I did. Yeah. And hopefully, I say my kids, they're 25 and 21.
Still kids.
They're still kids. Yeah. Or is it the gift that keeps on taking? But they hopefully they appreciate that. But I know I did because I feel like I know them.
Yeah, and I think you've given them something that lots of kids don't have.
Yeah, and I realised that we're very fortunate. It just meant that my wife and I could really co-parent. Yeah. But interestingly enough, some of the volunteer work and everything then led on to what I was going to do next. But yeah, that worked out well.
On that.
Oh yeah, I'm curious. Yeah.
So you've almost answered this question. Looking back, do you think that early success gave you the freedom or maybe the responsibility to build something more purpose-led? And when I wrote that, it was to lead into talking about the work that you do now over the last 20 years. But interestingly, it's got two sides to it.
Well, do you know, it did. But it also had some interesting effects on me. And so the early success also, I knew, and I have mentioned this elsewhere, but for some reason, when I started going out with my wife, and I think we were engaged at the time, I said to her, I know I'm going to make a fair bit of money, and then somehow I'll get involved in doing good or something like that. It's a bit vague because I wasn't sure. So when that happened, and then I stopped doing things, I was like, okay, I know I've got to do something. What am I going to do? So I was under a bit of pressure, and I couldn't figure it out. And it just, it was just it. And I tried bits and pieces, did stuff, and I was really unhappy is too strong a word, but not fulfilled. Yeah. Because I knew that I was fulfilled in the family sphere. Yeah. But in the other sphere, I found it a struggle of what to do next. And then the financial aspects is interesting because then, when it becomes known you've got some money, then there's a lot of people who suddenly want to work with you, or even manage your money, right? And so suddenly you do have a lot of people who want to be your friends, and so that was kind of shit. Whereas I just wanted to be Richard and part of Richard and Connie and the family and doing stuff.
Takeaway on a Saturday and watch the telly. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And in fact, Friday night takeaway night was generally,
that's your thing.
So that was one of the things.
Yeah, it's funny, we do the same.
Yeah, so it was. I just really didn't want any of that. So there were certain aspects that weren't totally aligned. So there was a bit of a shift and a bit of a change. But yeah, so did it lead on? Yes, it did, because over time I took on some voluntary roles. Which started to open my eyes to what on earth goes around even just in our local community around here, charities and impacts and stuff, which then actually started to coalesce into, okay, what could I do? Yeah. How could I help?
But you need that time to think about it, right?
Yeah, I know. But sometimes in my past, here's an issue, here's a resolution, here we go. And actually, sometimes, ideas have to ferment for a while, and I probably wasn't as patient as I needed to be. But I look back on it and say, actually, it was. Hindsight's a great thing because you can see the threads, but you can't see them at the time.
And you just need to find your place. Wherever that may be, and it's,
Or is it you only find your place where it fits right now, because that might not be the place forever. But actually,
of course, it evolves. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You change. Everyone changes.
Yeah.
And the environment that you're in changes. Yeah. So it's no surprise that.
No, I know.
Things change, and it doesn't quite work when it used to.
But I think sometimes if you stay in one particular career area, you're hopping around within a particular sphere. It's a bit easier, you say, contained. When you jump out of that sphere into other spheres, suddenly you're going equivalent down to the bottom rung of a ladder again and climbing up. So it just gives you different viewpoints, and sometimes it can feel a bit disheartening. And of course, the other thing is if you have some issues, and they're more internal issues than external, talking to other people, they'll be looking at what you've got it. Oh, what's your problem? And I get that, because of course I now work with a lot of business owners and stuff. And you could look at them and say, well, you've got all this, but actually they're suffering just as much as anyone else.
Yeah.
It's just that, like a lot of people, so the suffering is just hidden.
Yeah, most of the time it is. Okay, question 5.
Yeah.
And I picked a few that you've got on here. Yellow Lodge, the Giving Machine.
Yeah.
I've got on here Hertfordshire Local Enterprise Advisor. I've got YMCA.
Yeah.
Got the EOS.
Yeah.
So I picked a couple out. The Giving Machine.
Yeah.
The Giving Machine started back in 2006.
I know. Can't believe that it's so long ago.
20 years.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
It's now raised over £2 million. Whether that figure's still accurate, I don't know.
It's almost 2.5.
Okay, excellent. You need to update that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Raised nearly 2.5 million. Good causes. What was the spark behind it? And as we've just established, nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny when you say that, it almost makes me feel disheartened that it's only 2.5 million. You know, it really irks me, because I want it to be 10 times that.
Well, but what have you been doing all this time?
I know. Yeah, what a waster. I know. Yeah, but I do. That is my inner critic is like, you waster. What have you been doing?
Terrible. You only raised £2.5 million for good causes in here.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I know. Yeah, but it's just but that's just We were talking earlier before we started filming. So I sometimes I'll look at what we hadn't done rather than what we have. But that's because I have visions for where I want that to go. The point about the Giving Machine really was, how do we build an organisation to give money away to support local community? But it came from also there were 4 of us who started it. Was just how can we collaborate to make a difference? Using our skills as business and stuff like that, and with the audacity of start something and see what we can do. So we had an idea, and we prototyped it. It started working with some of the local schools and charities around here, and then we grew it into a national thing. As it happens, that idea, the concept, the product, the service we had, we retired that last year. But we've got other products and services now to continue that. But the objective really is about, when you look into our communities, take a step back, and it's not a sales pitch, but it's, if you look at where the money flows, like donation money, it often flows mostly to a very small percentage of very large charity organisations. Many of them, not all, have huge reserves, and many of them are trying to fix tomorrow's issues. As in, when I say tomorrow's, they're today's issues, but they've got to invest in trying to fix them, like medical research or whatever. It's not going to fix it today, but it's for tomorrow. But like our conversation before we started filming, there are children in poverty who need help now. There are people on the streets who need help now to find a safe place to live. There are people who need refuge from various abuse now. There are people who've got PTSD. When you look at the need, it's there now. So one of the things, when you look into community, there's these thousands of organisations typically running on volunteers, low budgets, servicing those needs. Never hear of them, but they're getting on with servicing the needs now. So what could we do as providing them some funding streams to just help them do some of what they do? And that's kind of what we is. So even though it's 2.4 million, it will have touched thousands of organisations. And we know that, if you give an organisation, I don't know, we've got some grant schemes to say £250. £250 can make a huge difference when it's actually going into a community organisation. If you're talking about £250 into an organisation that's raising, I don't know, 40 million a year, it's peanuts. But if you're talking about a daycare centre, or you're talking about a food bank, or whatever, these things have real tangible difference. So that's kind of the passion, is focusing on the smaller ones and giving them some lifeline of unrestricted funding. What can we do using our sort of, hopefully, business skills, organisational skills, and just time? What can we do to make a difference? So that's kind of what it's about.
Well, it is. And just to pick up on the word you said, just £2.4 million. Can you imagine? And this goes back to our conversation before we hit record. If more people, and lots of people do this, let's face it, but let's just say a lot more people did it, and they all raised just £2.4 million in 19 years, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
But by doing, hopefully, this, and the people that know you and the people that see it, and they then feel inspired to do something, that makes a difference.
Yeah. No, I think that's one of the things I've really enjoyed about that area of work is you also get to be around great people. And I think the other impact of that charity is not just the impact we've had on the causes. To me, it's attracted great people to work in it. We've mentored some young people through it, and everyone is paid, really, apart from the trustees and so on. And I think even giving sort of meaningful work to great people, and the fact that we've had very low team turnover in the last however many years, while we've been, just says it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, it speaks volumes.
So I think that piece is also part of an impact for me, even though it's not something you put on your impact statements. But I still look at it and think I wanted it to be 20 million, and I still want it to be that.
Well, you've still got time.
I know, so it's a race against time to get there.
You know what you say about targets, put a date on it.
I have.
Have you?
Yes.
And the date is?
We have got, within 3 years, I want to be at 1 million turnover, and within it's somewhere between 5 and 10 years, I want to be giving away 1 million a year, and then beyond.
Brilliant.
But it's to build the engine. It's not, so it's recurring revenue services. So we've got some stuff. So it's building the engines, because the community, I know I'm going on about it, but the community organisations, when you look at the money flow, and perhaps this is my guilt coming in, is I help in a tiny way build some of the infrastructure of the internet. The internet's been great, but one of the things it has also done is allowed organisations, multinational organisations, to suck money out of community, but it doesn't come back in taxes and local economy stuff. Therefore, we've got to build some other mechanisms to move some of that. Think of it like irrigation. So the water's flowing out, but it ain't coming back. And local councils don't have any money. They're going bankrupt. It's not like the government has a money tree. So where's it coming from? So how can we build some economic engines to start doing some of that doing some of that wide scale irrigation, if you like? That's kind of the way I've got it in my mind.
Be brilliant to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, well, let's hope it does.
Yeah. I've got another one on here.
Oh yeah.
It shows how experienced you are. Let's say this.
Okay. Right.
Because I've just put on here, you spent 8 years with the YMCA.
Yes. So I was a trustee and vice chair and that was a local YMCA, and they are essential, and still are, a hostel for young people with medium support needs, which basically says sometimes they might have had family difficulties, they have brushed with the law, they might have had some drug and health issues. So generally they needed some support and a safe place to live. And then there was another project we had, which had some rooms for sort of failed asylum seekers while they were reapplying. And so it was just a very interesting journey into seeing that area of life, which you might have just walked by. But it was also an opportunity for me to learn good governance and be part of a great performing team. So I really enjoyed that, even though, of course, some of the stories, there were stories of people who really, were able to climb out of their situation and take advantage of help. And there were people that would make progress and then bounce back, all part of the journey. I think one of the main things it did teach me, though, is when you see someone who you might be a bit judgmental about, actually you're seeing them at a moment in time, and maybe later on they're the same people going back into school talking about that issue. And I thought that was kind of an interesting observation on when you see people at a moment in time in their life journey. Yeah,
everyone has a story, and it's exactly that. Sometimes in that story it's a difficult time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've already answered that question.
Well, what was the question?
Well, how did that time, as I put in here, you spent 8 years with the YMCA starting in 2010, supporting young people in communities. How did that time shape your outlook and the impact you could make? And it's exactly as you just said there.
Well, do you know, one of the impacts that has been very interesting on that is, at the time, my daughter also started volunteering there. And she was in sort of sixth form at the time, and she carried on volunteering for several years. And that shaped some of her thoughts on what she wanted to do. And so she went on to do criminology at university, and is currently a probation officer, dealing with many people coming out of prison.
So that truly has shaped her life.
So, yeah, and I think that obviously the injustice of the system and how it treats people who are perhaps a little bit marginalised has become a core part of her. Now, that's not solely the YMCA, but it was part of it.
Next question for you.
Yeah.
Across your work, and I've put now from Yellow Lodge to the Giving Machine to the YMCA, what have you learned about staying committed to long-term causes? Because for all of these aren't pop in and have 6 months and then off you go again.
No.
Each of the YMCA was 8 years. You'll know this better than I. Yellow Lodge is 24 years. The Giving Machine is 19 years.
Yeah. So the Yellow Lodge is my sort of host company that I use to do all the stuff I do. So it kind of is the sort of central, consulting company. So it's just a framework, if you like. But I do a lot of stuff within that. Obviously, I'm doing the Giving Machine, and I do a few other things. It's taken me. In fact, Denise has really helped me on this. What is the common thread? And actually, Gino Wickman, who wrote Traction, which is the basis of EOS, put it in succinctly, which I really liked. He calls it the EOS life, but it's a really good set of phrases. But it's to do what I love with people I love to make a huge difference. And in that, you get to, it for me is, okay, what do I love doing? Who do I love being around? The rest takes care of itself.
Yeah, it does.
So actually, when I think about it, is that I'm leveraging the same sort of skills and capabilities through the charity piece. I'm hopefully doing what I love, which is using some of the skills to help good causes and do the thing that they do. But actually, in the businesses side of things, can you just hold on a sec? We're just on live camera. Okay, thanks. Sorry, just being asked if I could want a cup of tea. So
the answer is yes, probably.
yeah, come on, and more biscuits. And so so just lost the thread. So, but then when I look at, say, my EOS work, which is working with leadership teams and business owners, really it's about helping them build their teams and community for high performing teams. So actually, in many ways, to me, that's a form of impact, because you're creating workplaces where people want to be, where they want to achieve, and teams. And often I'll say to them, look, if doing the right things in the right way with the right people to get the results you want feels right, then I'm probably the good fit. If it's just about the results and you don't really care about your people, I'm probably not a good fit. And then if I even and I'm helping out on Quest, is funny enough, it was Jordan who's just asking me if I want a cup of tea. He's my daughter's partner, but he's got a racing syndicate organisation. But I was watching people, I think, not always being as helpful to him as they could be. So I said, well, look, why don't I help you build your business? Again, it's about helping him build the impact. And I know he feels very strongly about the kind of community he wants to build to enjoy horse racing. Again, it's about people. So when I look at all the themes, it's actually about building great teams and great cultures where people belong. And in fact, I love that the YMCA had that belong to help young people belong, contribute, and thrive. But ultimately, that's what we as human beings want. We want to belong. We want to feel that we can contribute. We're valued, and somehow the definition of thriving together, whether that's profit, whether it's impact, whether it's just I enjoy the time. So that to me, when I look at it, so that's on my business card now. Do what I love with people I love to make a huge difference.
I think it's touching on the YMCA, but being seen. I think that's a big part for people.
Yes.
To feel, especially within an organisation, any sort of organisation. Just to feel seen.
Yes, that's right. To be valued. For that. And I think that because actually it's funny, isn't it? Because there's this thing about love and hate. You know, actually, the opposite of love is apathy and ignoring you. Because hate is still an emotion. You're recognizing the person's there. It's when you ignore them, that's the opposite.
There's no way we're getting this done in 30 minutes.
Sorry.
There's no sorry about it. It's a great chat. I'm going to go on to EOS.
Okay.
So this is in 2021.
Yeah.
You became a certified implementer with EOS, which, for those that don't know, is Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Yeah.
What drew you to that model, and what kind of leaders do you most, funny you use the word love, what kind of leaders do you most love working with?
Yeah. So technically I became a professional, then only recently I got upgraded to certified.
You're certified, so you know what you're doing now.
So allegedly.
Well, you'd be dangerous now, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's it. I'm fully dangerous. I can spell it. Do you put a S or Z in it, in the word organisation? What drew me to it was actually, I read the book Traction, which is a great book on how to run organisations. But from a cultural perspective, it's just a real holistic thing. And because it was really a lot of Stephen Covey's work, or Covey, was built into it, which I mentioned earlier, I loved the book and I started using it and putting it into practice in the charity, and we still run on that mechanism. And I bought it and gave it, because sometimes I buy books and give them to people to be helpful. And I met someone who says, well, I'm a professional implementer. You probably ought to, I think you'd be good for this. You ought to check it out. And at that time, I was looking for something else that would be somewhat, generate a little bit of more income than the charity piece, because I was paying everyone else, but typical founders and entrepreneurs, you don't really pay yourself, because I want to invest in the team. So I liked organizational development. Anyway, so I looked at it and I thought, I don't really want to join another company. Problem is, when you've done your own thing for a while, you make a rubbish employee, right? So, so I looked into it and then I thought, hold on, they say they're abundance minded, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, sure. But when I started meeting the implements, I thought, I like these people. Yeah. These are my tribe. And I love the system and the methodology, and I love the way in which it's put out there. In fact, there's pretty much nothing I don't like. I'm in. And so, I was in. And it's funny because at the time it required a bit of an investment of some money, which I didn't have easily accessible at the time. And my dad, I was talking to him about it, he goes, and he was in his sort of palliative care stage. And we always got on really well and open. He goes, he says, no, he said, I'll loan you the money, just take it out of the estate when I croak. So
off you went.
So off I went and did it, and I've absolutely loved it far more than I thought I would, because I didn't know. But ultimately, again, it's about building teams but giving you a framework. And I think the way I would think of it is, if you were starting a business and you were going to get an accounting system, right? You would choose one that's already proven. You choose Xero, QuickBooks, Sage. You wouldn't build your own, and you wouldn't use one that was made by your mate down the road, right? Because what if they go and hot you're stuffed? So why would you run your business on a methodology that you're kind of making up as you go along? Why wouldn't you copy one? And the fact that you don't, it's easily accessible to you. It's free apart from the price of a book and some free materials. Or you can get a coach like me to really help you accelerate that. It's a bit of a no-brainer. So to some degree, I think, wow, the more organizations I can help and my colleagues can help, the better. It's just that most people don't even know there is a methodology to do that. A bit like if you wanted to run 5K, you'd probably do couch to 5K, because it's a methodology, right? Doing it on your own would be a bit hard. So that's why I'd say, for a lot of business owners, there is help out there to help you get a grip and get what you want. Because most of them, what happens is they start something, suddenly it becomes people. And we all know people, and they're helping to organize them. They say they're the greatest asset. It's not true. The right people are your greatest asset. The wrong people, you become your biggest liability,
your biggest hindrance.
And then how can you organize them in a way that they enjoy being organized and they can execute? And that is just a skill. It's not a innate thing. And I think that was one of the things I liked about the US teaching is, and I love it, because it says, what do you need to be a great leader? And there's only two things. One, you need to want to be great. And two, you have to really care about your people. And I think if those two ingredients, if you want that, you can be a great leader.
There has to be that desire there.
the desire has to be, but you do have to care about people. And I think I see the implications when you don't.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny when you put the word genuinely care, like you really
you got to
actually care.
It doesn't mean to say that you're soft.
Okay. No, not
it doesn't mean to say you're soft, but you care about them. Because if you care, people know when you care about them, when you don't care about them, and that gets you a lot of their mind share. And what's interesting is even on a spreadsheet, you'll get less sick days, you get more performance. So it even makes sense if you're only looking at the numbers. So why wouldn't more people do it? Because they're perhaps not as open, vulnerable, emotionally intelligent as perhaps great leaders need to be. And hopefully that's where I and my fellow implementers who do what we do help.
But it creates longevity as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is important when you're trying to, run a business for one, grow a business. It's very hard to grow a business when you've got the people coming and going.
Oh, yeah, because you lose so much momentum.
Yeah.
And onboarding people and absorbing them into your culture, it takes time. It's like building trust. You can't expect trust on day one. It takes time to build those things. So, if you do build a relationship with your employees and your team, make it worthwhile. Find the right people, and then keep them feeling connected,
seen, fulfilled,
absolutely,
happy, motivated. All those words.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
Helping founders and their teams find clarity and traction sounds simple, because we can use all those words.
Yeah, we love them, don't we?
But it's anything but that, which it is. What's a moment when you felt, this is why I do this?
I get to achieve those moments every time I have a session with leadership teams. It's the coming together of looking at an issue and helping people, facilitating them to solve and to go beyond the issue of that they're seeing, because often an issue is a symptom. It's a symptom of a problem in number of root causes. So taking them through, okay, why? And what, so one of the things, I was working with a team recently, and one of the root causes of a lot of the dysfunctions they have, and let's be clear, every team, it's like finding the fully functional family, right? That's nirvana. So every team is dysfunctional in some way, shape, or form. It's just observing that and then fixing that one before the next dysfunctionality comes up. It's just natural. But having that open honesty to tackle and to tackle it head on and say it is what it is. So when I see them coming together and solving something together, because I don't need to solve it, they need to solve it, but helping them do that is a buzz. Yeah, and to also see people achieving things, becoming a team in ways that they hadn't experienced before, that is a buzz. So to me, and in fact, one of my favorites, and it shouldn't be such an odd thing, but I've got an all-female leadership team, and often I get some all-male ones and some mixed ones, but rarely that. But to see them smashing it together and just being a force out there for saying, look, you can do this, and even bigging each other's up, because a number of people have imposter syndromes, but across the board in every team. But to see them come out of themselves, that's the buzz.
That's the impact you're making.
Yeah. Well, it is, but actually, fundamentally, you only need to. It's just a little bit of unlocking and tweaking, and giving them permission, creating that space, and to see that is just So because it's innate. They're doing the work. They just sometimes need that little nudge, that little bit of, I don't know, environment, and then they can be themselves. And then suddenly think, oh, I can do this.
This is what's possible.
Yeah, I always had it in me. I just didn't quite realise it. That to me is that when I come back, that gives me the big cheesy grin.
Yeah, didn't quite realise. Didn't feel empowered to do it either. So possible. I've found it quite a lot about feeling caged.
Yeah.
And it's going, actually, no, you're bloody good.
Yeah.
You're bloody good. Back yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
You can do it.
But that's because we all got everyone's got their inner critics willing to get out of the box and tell you actually how crap you are. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you were great 20 times, the one time that something didn't quite work out, it lets that thing out of the box, the gremlin.
Yeah.
And
I use this example. I saw a video online, and it was around writing onto a board, doing a 10 times table in front of a classroom. 10 times 1 is 10. That's right, 10 times 1 is 10.
Yeah.
10 times 2 is 20. 3 times 10 is 31, whatever it was. I went all the way down. And then they'd go and turn to class, say, how did I do? And everyone was like, well, you got one wrong. And the answer back was, I got 9 right.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Society will pick up on the 1 wrong.
Of course, yeah.
And we as people will pick up on the 1 wrong. You've done 9 right.
Yes.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but that is the way our minds work.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. So, and it's funny because one of the things also I work with teams was quite interesting is we have to rate how well we work together as a team, right? And they give it a number 1 to 10. But I often have to say to them that you have to, and when you rate your meetings, internal meetings, you've got to do that. Yeah. But 10 has to be achievable.
Yeah. Because
think of it like you're setting the tone for the business. So it's like parents set the tone. So if you tell your children whatever they do is never good enough, can you imagine how much you're going to screw them up? So if you tell your staff it's never good enough, it's always we only give 9 out of 10 because there's always room for improvement. Of course, there's room for improvement, but that was excellent work.
But in this instance,
in this that's a 10.
Yeah,
and I think we have to be prepared to do that. That mentality of it's never good enough, it really screws people up.
Yeah, demotivating. I think
yeah, it is.
Word.
Yeah, because 10's not achievable.
Yeah.
So actually, what I say is, if you can't ever give a 10, then we rate out of 1 to 11.
Yeah, or 1 to 9.
Yeah. Well, it's just because then I want to see a 10. Yeah. I want you to be able to feel you can give a 10. So mentally, just change the scale just for you.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's there. But one more question.
Yeah,
that's it. Three. Well, 1 question and then 2 follow-ups. So I put on here, you've built businesses. I put back charities, but I think we've unpacked that a bit. Supported communities. But when someone encounters you and the work that you do, what do you most hope they feel or take away?
I think that actually the engagement with me, in whatever form it was helpful to them in some way, and wasn't one of those things where they say, that was half an hour of my life I won't get back.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, I would hope in some way I've been helpful in whatever way that is, whether it's advice, an introduction to someone else, whether it's a session I've run. Yeah. So that actually that interaction somehow had and obviously I would love it if it was helpful for me too.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that if I say I want to do what I love with people, I have to make a huge difference. Actually, it does fulfill if I've made even the tiniest bit of difference.
This is it. I always like thinking about time being valuable. And people you'd hear, that's such a waste of time. What a waste of time that was. I think what you said there, you can always sort of put it into another small little bit and go, you just want them to come away and go, what bloody good use of time that was.
Yeah.
For both of us.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's
good.
And sometimes that's because the conversation took a turn that you didn't expect. Fine. Yeah. So when I often will have a connection with someone, that call, I don't quite know. It might be, we might talk about charity, we might talk about business, might even talk about hobbies, or, in some cases, actually the biggest pressing issue for them is their child's looking for some work experience, and say, okay, who do I know that I could connect you for that? That's the positive outcome. I think if you're too narrow on, it's got to be an outcome, it's a lead, it's a prospect, that you kind of forget we're talking with a human being here, and if we can help each other. Wasn't it Zig Ziglar said, you can get everything you want in life if you help everyone else get what they want. I love his name, Zig Ziglar.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah. On that.
Oh, yes.
So I have 2 questions at the end I ask everybody.
I know. I think I know.
Well, one of them you'll know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know the other one.
Well, 2 you'll know, hopefully. It's a really simple one. I put on here, how can the listeners help you? And there's two sides to this as well now, as I've started to realise going through this. It's how the listeners can help you, but as I've realised, building up a community, that's what this is becoming, of people that have been on.
Yeah.
And that connection that we have going through.
Yes.
I was sat here listening to you talk, and what really stuck with me was the fact that you were nominated by Denise. Denise was nominated by Sarah. Sarah was nominated by a guy called Steve, and Steve was nominated by me. And I was sitting here thinking, gosh, you need to speak to Steve.
No.
And it's that connection about, I don't know how you would help each other. I just know that you could help each other in whatever way that looks like.
Well, I think that's it. When you connect like-minded people, stuff happens.
Mm.
You know, and it might not be anything to do with business. It's just connectivity, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So on here, this is specifically for the listeners, the people watching.
The millions.
I always joke the millions. The 2 million people watching, give or take 2 million.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How can those people help you? Specifically help you, not deflect in a way.
No, I understand. And that's very, thank you. So I guess if I look in the different realms, if you know business owners who got 10 to 250 people and they're struggling, I'd love an opportunity to introduce a methodology to them. Mm-hmm. They don't have to work with me, mm-hmm. but a methodology to them that would help them get a grip and feel more in control and enjoy the experience of running a business. Because actually sometimes it's not that enjoyable, you know, because you just deal with a lot of people stuff. And so there was that. And then on the charity bit, what would help me is, you know what, why don't you either introduce smaller organisations to us because we can help them, that's the giving machine, or we've got a national lottery platform, and play for £1 or £2 a week. You might win a cash prize, but sign up and become a member of our friends, but you'll help fund our community grants. And every quarter we give away grants to small organisations for 250 quid, a number of them, with almost no questions asked. I don't need loads of reporting. It's just, and it doesn't sound a lot, but it might pay, you know, it will help in some way, shape or form for the minimum amount of effort, and help us towards that, and become part of us to give away £1 million a year, then 2, then 5, then 10, and so on. So those are the two ways. Or just connect with me if you fancy a conversation.
Yeah, and that's part of it. This is the reason as well. It's when people watch and they think, what a nice bloke. You know, I'd love to meet and have a chat.
Yeah.
And they've got an insight into you as a person. But they've also got a head start because you don't know them.
No, that's right. Yeah. So
if they feel the need to reach out,
that'd be great.
You feel comfortable to go, okay, so you don't think I'm an idiot and I'm all of these other things.
Yeah,
I actually think I'm a nice guy, and there is a way that we could perhaps collaborate, work together, whatever it may be. Or
if people need a bit of help in some way, often I might know somebody or something that can help. Because often it's not just about what I individually know. It's your network.
Yeah, exactly. And on that,
yes,
we will finish on this because it is the last one. So who are you nominating as your 2 amazing people, and why?
Do you know, I was thinking about this before, and I was I'm very fortunate that I do get to be around and have been around a lot of amazing people. So narrowing down to 2 was tough. But I'm going to pick Nicola Chowings and Louisa Gatwood. So they both work with me in the Giving Machine. Louisa, this poor woman, has worked with me for 14, 15 years or whatever. Can you believe that? So obviously she's highly traumatized.
You know, we already established that she's probably the opposite of all of that.
Yeah, there's probably well, we don't know, do we? So but she's in some ways a quiet person, but so confident and capable, and has really truly lived to the core values that actually she will challenge me if I don't think that's right for us. And she's running the Giving Machine day to day. Just an amazing person, and just fantastic to be around, but just everything I could have hoped for in that kind of a college, just to make sure things just work, just run, reliable, and just a great friend as well. So yeah, I just and I admire the fact she's stuck through the Giving Machine thick and thin, because it's running a small organisation is never just easy. It's just, and a number of times we thought, it's going to go, it's not going to work out, and then suddenly something happens. It's almost like the universe says, no, don't give up. Here's a little carrot. Yeah, that's right.
You're not done.
You're not done. Keep stay in the game. And and she stayed in the game. And Nicola, for a very similar reason. So she heads up our technology type stuff, and works with us, but she's also works with lots of other charities. And she's just another amazing person and had loads of life issues thrown at her. But the persistence, the doggedness, and the sense of humour, and she swears a lot, but contextually swears, not just random. It's contextually appropriate.
She's not walking around Tesco's just swearing.
No, it's a very contextually it's contextually appropriate swearing, right? Brilliant. So I'm very fortunate that they're part of my life and have been part of the journey for many years for me, and I'm just eternally grateful for them being the amazing people they are.
I look forward to chatting to him after the summer holidays.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks,
Thank you so much. Cheers. Thank you.
I say it every time, and I genuinely mean it. I hope it's recorded.
So there we have it. That was episode number 10. And as I said on the intro, what a brilliant guy Richard is. And my biggest takeaway is just how nice he is, and the fact that he just wants to give back, whether that's giving back through EOS and supporting business owners, or giving back through, quite literally, the giving machine. So look, the whole point of this is to shine a light on amazing people, and Richard is one of those. So please do reach out to him if you want to help him with what he is doing, especially with the giving machine, or if you're running a business and you just need some support. He's a cracking guy, a brilliant guy, amazing guy, and it was an absolute pleasure chatting to him. I hope you enjoyed episode number 10.